The students of white fragility unite. Because we have Maddie and her mother, Bart Simpson, who decided to butt in on the Jolene situation, stating around 11 minutes, 40 seconds, and 14 minutes and 30 seconds during their first live stream of 2022, stating about the situation, about how it was not cool, and people are attacking her, and Jolene's a nice person, she doesn't deserve it. Now, of course, they're speaking out of ignorance, which woke libtards usually do, but they assume that she's the good guy, while doing minor research on the situation. And the reason why they decided to speak on it, well, it's simple. They saw that her beef was with a man, specifically a black man by the name of Metro D. And as I've stated before, within the hierarchy of woke, men in general are at the bottom rung, but men of color, as they like to call people, are at the very bottom, because they still need the Asian man and the white man to sort of employ them and enable them. So they'll do pandering to certain types of them. But when it comes to the black male, unless you're a member of the alphabet sex cult, they completely dismiss you. And this is enabled and encouraged by the liberal black woman, one of which was in the chat of this live stream, who helped bring up the situation at around 14 minutes and 30 seconds, where she stated in the chat that she was a Jolene supporter and she loves and support her and always catches up on the recaps during the season. Ivy Jones was the bitch's name in the chat. And then that prompted Maddie and her mother, Bart Simpson, to comment on the situation even further. Now, to me, this is an official endorsement by Maddie and her mother, Bart Simpson, of Jolene's black scent, because she went on a black scent mocking. And within the circles of woke, imitating a black person's voice and tone is a no-no. In fact, it gets you labeled as racist. But as I've stated before, certain people are granted certain privileges to attack certain people that would normally get them deemed as racist. And the people that are grant those certain privileges usually are white libtards, especially females and members of the alphabet sex cult. And they're granted those privileges to attack black males and black females and other colored people who get out of line. But especially if they are POC males, as they like to call people. And so again, they decided to step in it because this is what they do. They gather around their folk, their woke libtard allies, and when they get the green light and go ahead, usually from the black liberal woman, to attack, then they attack. And this is why there is no hesitation from people like this to comment on situations. Never mind Jolene truly actually exhibiting privilege, because I don't use that stupid term, but she actually displayed her privilege by highlighting how someone else was doing in life. Never mind that people's situations come about from tragedy. Completely ignore that. They just want to highlight the fact that how someone is doing now, and use that as an opportunity to mock them and to insult them. Which again, if some red hat wearing Republican did anything of the sort, they'll be damn near labeled a grand wizard white supremacist racist. But because it's a student of white fragility, a woke-tard who's attacking a black man who's not being in lockstep with the liberal agenda, then it's okay. It's fine and dandy to attack a person like that. And again, these bitches are enabled generally by black liberal females. It's why they can throw eggs at a black man while wearing a gorilla mask. It's why they can call Candace Owens nappy-headed and then compare her relationship to some sort of slave play. Yeah, you have all that kind of stuff targeting black people who step out of line. Hell, you even have people like, again, Kyrie Irving, Nicki Minaj, who stated publicly she's a fan of Hillary Clinton, that is. But when she stepped out of line about this whole vaccine mandate bullshit, oh, she had Joy Reid attacking her and a bunch of other white libtards attacking her as well. So this is what they do, which is why, for me personally, it doesn't take a genius to figure out who the enemy is. If I find out they're libtarded or woke in any way, then I know they can't be trusted, because this is the sort of logic that they adhere to, that it's okay to make all of these racially charged, gender-based charged attacks against people while simultaneously playing the victim. It's okay to do any and all of that, just as long it's being directed towards a person that's seen as being disobedient to the overall woke white libtard agenda. And that agenda can be found in books like White Fragility, books like White Awareness, which was made by Judy Katz in the 70s. And it basically just promotes this inferiority complex that they expect all people, non-white to adhere to. Now, again, the privilege that you get if you adhere to this inferiority complex jargon, well, the privilege you get is you get to call white people racist and say white people are terrible people, while working for them, while being sponsored by them. Because sadly, there's a lot of so-called black people and other people of other so-called races who just get a thrill off of being able to insult white people while they simultaneously work for them and then vote for them in elections, like people like Joe Biden, who actually had a political career of actually saying racially insensitive and disparaging things, versus a TV reality real estate guy who didn't have such power to pass a crime bill. But again, this is the hierarchy of the woke. This is the logic of the woke, which is why I see them all as subhuman scumbags. But yeah, the season of Celebrity Big Brother is starting soon. I believe in less than a month. So I'm looking forward to seeing who will be cast on that show, because I'm sure it's going to be very diverse, and especially when you're talking about celebrities, it's going to be full of woke-tart agendas being pushed throughout this season. But, with Omni-Man, aka Omnicron, shutting things down, particularly in liberal cities, who knows if we even get a season? Because they just recently had a debate at the Supreme Court on whether or not they were going to really try to push this Biden vaccine mandate bullshit. And there's a lot of people who weren't even aware of that hearing that went on, I believe, yesterday with the Supreme Court. Yeah, which I'm sure Maddie and her mother Bart Simpson and Jolene and Busy Bluetooth, they all co-signed, this tyranny. So much for my body, my choice, right? But anyway, these chicks talk because they know it's safe to talk. If they saw that Metro D was Devon or Tiffany, then she would just say, oh, I feel bad, or would have ignored the question entirely. Because, again, Devon and Tiffany, they don't have the green light on them to be criticized. Because not only are they so-called black, but particularly is because they're black females that adhere to this woke tart, libtard agenda. But for a man, you're bottom rung and easy pickings, which is why I say any hetero-male adhering to this woke tart, libtard agenda is an absolute moron.